Costume designers are rarely recognized for their genius, but they really should be, and today's genius is Mona May in her work on the movie Lemonade Mouth, directed by Patricia Riggen. In high school, Lemonade Mouth follows 5 unlikely friends who join to create a successful band. As they navigate family struggles, friendship, and the pressure of high school, they utilize music as a way to form community and celebrate individuality. Now, this film came out in 2011, and it was one of my personal favorites. I even owned the soundtrack CD. It really captures the era's fashion, the swooping bangs, layered tank tops, feather earrings, the fin flare dresses, and those large belts to cinch those dresses in. Mona May, who also designed for Clueless, by the way, created a distinctive wardrobe for each band member that reflected their unique personality while also using color and pattern to reveal how each band member fit within their family dynamic. Most importantly, though, the costumes support the story, showcasing how the teenagers transform into being confident performers. Perhaps one of the most memorable band members is Stella. She's the most punk rock out of the group, dressing in studded belts, bracelets, and boots that match her studded guitar strap. She is probably also most remembered for her feather earring and dye-streaked alternative hairstyle that probably took a whole spray bottle to keep in place. Immediately, we understand that Stella is not afraid of being noticed. As we learn more about her family life, her appearances take on a greater meaning. Stella is the only musician in her academically driven family, and her bold style reflects her desire to be seen and heard. Stella tells her bandmates, "I don't want to be some random face of the yearbook or some kid vaguely recognized passing the hall. I want to be heard." She certainly lives up to those words. On her first day after transferring to a new school, Stella arrives wearing a Question Authority t-shirt that is quickly and unfairly dress-coded by the controlling Principal Brennigan. Outraged by his decision and frustrated by the school's rigid social structure, Stella interrupts the school assembly shouting, "Be heard, use your voice. He can't tell you what to wear or who to be." Her protest lands her in detention, where she ultimately becomes the catalyst for forming the band and establishing its mission to celebrate individuality and freedom of expression. Because of this moment and the graphic t-shirt itself being so significant to the story, Mona May repeatedly dresses Stella in shades of red that echo the color of the shirt, creating a visual reminder of the character's convictions. To further emphasize Stella's determination to speak up and inspire change, May also dressed her in graphic tees supporting vegetarianism and animal rights. Her backpack is covered with buttons and patches that reinforce her activist identity. Together, these costume details visually communicate Stella's passion and unwavering sense of purpose. Overall, Stella's wardrobe is edgy, punk, and grounded, setting her apart from the traditionally feminine styles of Olivia and Mo. Interestingly, Hayley Kiyoko, the actress who portrayed Stella, later reflected on how deeply she connected with the character. In an interview, she said, "When I did Lemonade Mouth, I wasn't out yet. It was like an eerie parallel to what ended up happening in my life, where this character, Stella, is standing up and saying, be heard, be strong, be proud, stand up for what you believe in. Stella was the progressive version of myself. Stella was way ahead of me in a weird way." Kiyoko's reflection highlights how Stella's costume and attitude reveal something deeper and unspoken. Following Stella is Mo, played by Naomi Scott, an actress who's from the UK, by the way. She's got a solid American accent. Mo is a dedicated student and violinist who strives to live up to her father's expectations of being the perfect Indian daughter. To reflect this, Mona May costumes Mo in more conservative jackets, cardigans, and sweaters whenever she's at home or in her father's presence, pairing them with minimal to no makeup. At the beginning of the film, she even steps out of her father's car wearing a blazer, visually concealing the young woman she's starting to become. However, once she's out of sight, she switches personas and changes her clothes, swapping the conservative layers for statement necklaces, feminine dresses, and wedge heels that better reflect her own personality. Through these costume changes, May visually communicates Mo's struggle to balance who she was, who her parents expect her to be, and the identity that she's beginning to claim for herself. Mo also has a secret boyfriend, Scott, a popular athlete and a musician at the school. Because of Scott's larger-than-life presence and Mo's naturally reserved personality, she often fades into the background, living in his shadow. As she becomes a member of Lemonade Mouth and begins performing on stage, however, she finally discovers a space where she can express herself freely. Her performance wardrobe becomes noticeably bolder, featuring darker colors and smoky eye makeup. Her physical presence changes as well. She carries herself with greater confidence and takes up more space on stage, with great hair choreography, by the way. I mean, who could forget the She's So Gone performance? These costume choices reinforce Mo's growing self-assuredness and symbolize her journey towards bold self-expression. Now we move on to Olivia. Olivia is shy, has few friends, and struggles with both stage fright and the fear of being noticed in general. She lives with her grandmother and cat after her mother passed away and her father was sent to prison. At the beginning of the film, Olivia is frequently dressed in simple dresses and cozy cardigans. Although this clothing appears fairly ordinary at first glance, it's actually quite intentional. She is almost always dressed in shades of purple and floral prints, parents. Living with her grandmother, Olivia's wardrobe is clearly shaped by her home environment. Her grandmother's house filled with floral decor, and her grandmother herself frequently wears purple. By drawing from elements of the film's set design, Mona May translates Olivia's home and comfort zone into her personal style, creating a visual connection between the character and the safe space that she inhabits. As seen with Stella and Mo, hairstyles are very effective in creating a character story arc, and Olivia is no exception. At the beginning of the film, she wears her hair in ponytails and braids, neat, contained hairstyles that mirror her reserved personality and reluctance to stand out. However, as she begins performing and gradually overcomes her stage fright, her appearance softens. Olivia lets her hair down, wearing it loose in soft curls. Her final performance outfit is perhaps her most striking look, marking the completion of her transformation into a confident performer. Through both costume and hairstyling, May visually charts Olivia's emotional journey from timid teen to self-assured artist. Next is keyboard player and fellow songwriter Wen. Unlike some of the other band members, Wen has a strong sense of who he is from the beginning of the film. Rather than struggling with his identity, his conflict centers on his changing home life. Wen finds it difficult to accept his father's much younger fiancée, Sydney, and the changes she brings to their family dynamic. Like Olivia, Wen's personal style is heavily influenced by his home environment and his relationship with his family. It's clear that he and his father have relied on one another for a long time. It therefore makes sense that Wen mirrors his father's style, often wearing plaid shirts, denim, and warm earth tones such as brown, orange, and green. One of my favorite looks is Wen's outfit during the Halloween Bash performance, where he wears a layered gray denim-on-denim ensemble. While the rest of the band's costumes evolve to reflect their growing confidence, Wen's wardrobe remains relatively consistent, reinforcing that his journey is less about discovering who he is and more about learning to accept change in his family life. Finally, we have Charlie, the band's drummer. Like Mo, Charlie struggles with living up to his family's expectations. His parents want him to follow in the footsteps of his older brother as a successful soccer player, even though athletics is not Charlie's strength or passion. Interestingly, despite his lack of interest in sports, Charlie has the most athletic-inspired wardrobe of the group. He frequently wears sneakers, sports hoodies, graphic t-shirts, often paired with a leather choker necklace. These costume choices suggest that his brother's influence and family's expectations have subtly shaped the way Charlie presents himself. Overall, Charlie's style is perhaps the most representative of the early 2010s teen fashion, with many of his outfits fitting the casual Hollister and Abercrombie & Fitch aesthetic that was popular at the time. His longer hairstyle also distinguishes him from the other prominent male characters, Wen, Ray, and Scott, making him immediately recognizable in group scenes. Overall, the costumes for all 5 band members work together to highlight each character's individuality while establishing them as a cohesive group. Mona May paid careful attention to not only the silhouette and styling of each costume, but also to the film's overall color palette. Accent colors are thoughtfully repeated across band members' outfits within the same scene. For example, if Stella is wearing a bold shade of red, that same red might appear in Mo's purse, or Charlie's jacket, or Olivia's belt. These subtle visual connections unify the characters without sacrificing their distinct identities. Finally, I'd just like to give an honorable mention to Ray's outfit in the Rising Star performance, because he wears a suit with a white shirt underneath that has his face on it, and it just fits so well with his character's inflated sense of ego. And that's it for the costume analysis on Lemonade Mouth. If there's a film that you would like me to analyze, please leave it in the comments. Like, subscribe, follow to keep the momentum of this channel going, and thank you as always for your support and kind words, and I'll see you next time.